Here in the home office, you can see my charging station is definitely in need of an upgrade. That's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. Let's jump right in. I just got back from Home Depot and I got 4 different metal pegboards. They are 16 by 16. I'm gonna put all of these together. Mesh baskets that go on the pegboard. I will still be using my charging station as a home base for the cords. It has 6 USB ports with 4 receptacles. I'm going to plug in all of the USB cords that I plan on using on this charging station and just get a rough idea of where I want to run these. Here I'm using a cord sleeve so I can separate which direction these cords go. On one side, I'm going to be running 3 USB Type-C cords. On the other side, 1 USB Type-C cord with a couple of micro cords. The idea is to run these cords behind this pegboard so that they can be concealed. Then poke them out on each side above the basket. I don't want any separation in this pegboard, so I'm going to have to cut a hole to feed these wires and cords through. I'm using some tape just to mark where I want to cut at. It's not shown here, but I also made a cut at the bottom so I can run the main power cord through the pegboard. After I make all of my cuts, I'll be smoothing out the metal edges with this Dremel tool to get rid of any burrs as well. Right here, I'm just doing a test fit to make sure that the cords will go through the metal pegboard. Another step that I have to do is widen out the holes where the USB charging ports are going to go. To do this, I'm going to use this old steel step bit. Once these holes were made, I tested them for size and also deburred them with the Dremel tool. Now that I have all of my holes made, I'm going to do a very rough draft of how everything's going to be set up before I mount it to the wall. So when mounting this pegboard, I don't want it sitting flat against the wall, as there's going to be no rooms for the cords, and it comes with these little spacers. The pegboard does, but that's not going to work. I need this pegboard to sit at least 1/2 inch to 1 inch off the wall. So what we're going to need are some standoff mounting screws. These standoff mounting screws can be purchased for 20-30 bucks because I'm going to need about 16 of them. And they can get pretty expensive. So instead of paying for these mounting screws, I'm just going to make some out of stuff I already have laying around the garage, like this 2x4, and to do that you're just going to need a hole saw bit. This one's 1 1/4 inch and it's long enough to go through a 2x4. I'm just using some 80 grit sand block to sand these down. If they come out a little uneven, you can just sand them down to make them even. I know a drill press would probably be the optimal tool to make these, but I do not have one. Another reason I'm sanding these down is I'm gonna paint them. I'm painting these the same color as my wall. The reason for that is I've got leftover paint, so it just makes sense to try and use all this up. Now I'm going to join these pegboards together with self-tapping screws since they are metal. Still waiting for my spacers to dry. I've got all of these connected together so I can just go ahead and get a visual of how this is going to look. I'm going to get the pegboard level and drill in 3-inch screws just to hold it up. Okay, we've got a stud there. I'm going to put my other 4 mounting brackets right around here in the center. I'm going to mark those right now. I've got all of my holes marked with the screw, so now I can take all those screws out. One mistake I made was this cord needs to go through this hole. I can probably separate this. I just may have to remove one screw, but I'm going to run all my cords through the holes now. Got that cord through. I'll slide my charging cords through before I retighten that self-tapping screw. Tighten this back up. Now on the right side we have a stud that we can go into. That's not a problem. On the left side it goes straight through the drywall. I'm going to use some of these Zirkit anchor. Looks like my mounting pegs are dry, so nope, they are not. Along with the 3-inch screws I have some just silver flat washers that I'm going to be using. I'm going to put my screws in through the mounting supports, and I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm just feeling for that hole that I already drilled through with the screw. Okay, I have all of those threaded in. Next I'm going to do the corners, which will be the part that is bearing the load. Now I can drive home the center stabilizers. Everything's up, just gonna give it a little bit of customization and alright, I got a very rough layout of some of my accessories that I use for filmmaking, and this is probably going to change 1,000 times in the next month. One thing I'm going to add right over the charging station is a picture light. There's my new charging station. Definitely some flaws. Definitely some things I would have done differently if I were to build this all over again. But let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching.